Hi guys, welcome to this week's Friday Waffle. Now this is actually getting recorded on Thursday because by the time you watch this, I shall hopefully be excuse me, somewhere on the M6 motorway, on my way to, where am I going? Birmingham. It's the annual insomnia thing that I take my daughter to. It's a video games event thing, but it's primarily, current generation stuff. There's a big YouTuber presence as well. There's lots of people giving talks. Funnily enough, I've never been approached. Can't think why. Yeah, all these guys are 4 million subscribers and whatnot. So my daughter and I went down last year to, was it Birmingham, Manchester? I can't remember where it was last year. And we had quite a good time. But this year my daughter's taken two of her pals, so they're going to be wandering about themselves, no doubt, and I'll just be looking after myself. I did notice there's going to be a small selection of retro games and that, so that should be good fun. I'm sure I'll keep myself busy with that. So aye, that's it. I'll be down there. I'm actually going down, well, I'm travelling down tomorrow night, which is Friday night. Leaving after I finish work at 5. Probably won't get down there. It's going to be 5 hours. It's probably going to be about 10 o'clock at night by the time I get down. Now, if anybody that's watching this video is actually going to be there, unlikely I know, please let me know in the comments, because like I said, I'm going to be spending most of the day. We're going to be there the full Saturday. It's in the Birmingham NEC. I think tickets are still available. If anyone's going to be down there that wants to tie up, let me know. Just put a wee comment in the comment section below, and it'd be great to meet anybody, because like I said, I'm going to be down there the full day myself, just wandering about. So it'd be nice to get a bit of company if possible. So aye, that's that. Gaming wise, what have we been doing? My wife's actually been away on with work Monday to, well, I was going to say Monday to Friday. She came back last night. But what what we've actually done is I created a second Xbox Live, or sorry, what I should say is I set up an Xbox Live Gold account for my daughter. I've only got it for the 1 month at the moment, but what we've been doing is playing. She's been downstairs on the Xbox 360, and I've been upstairs on the one in the games room, and we've been playing multiplayer Left 4 Dead. I mean, we've been playing the split screen thing, but it's amazing just how much better the game looks when it's actually, you've got the full screen. I must admit, when I was playing it in the 360, I was thinking it's not the greatest graphics. Excuse me. It's not the greatest graphics in the world. But that's because we've been playing it in split screen, and obviously the Xbox is trying to push two sets of graphics on one machine, so it's not going to be as good. It's a bit like VR. It's trying to produce, two sets of graphics at the same time. So yeah, we've been playing it. I've been down upstairs, she's been downstairs. It's been great fun, really good fun. The only thing is you need to have 2 copies of the same game now, so I had to borrow Left 4 Dead from my pal. But great fun, good to see that Xbox Live is still alive and kicking. But gaming wise, not been up to much. I did put out a video a couple of days ago of Asteroids, running an emulated version of Asteroids on the Commodore 64 and Atari 800. It was my mate Matt that mentioned it to me. I wasn't aware of that. Saying that, when he mentioned it, I think something in my brain was telling me, yeah, I was aware of it, but it's not. It's obviously something I'd forgotten about a long time ago. But it's just incredible. I mean, yeah, the C64, if you've not watched the video, you can maybe watch it and see what you think. The Commodore 64 one is very slow, as you would expect. It's not just running a game, it's actually running code under an emulator. And how on earth somebody can write an emulator with a game running on a Commodore 64, I will never ever know. I mean, I've always been led to believe that it's only powerful machines like PCs and whatnot that can run emulators. I mean, I know obviously consoles and that can do it, but even stuff like the PlayStation 2, there were emulators available for the PlayStation 2, and it struggles with a lot of games. And the fact that it even runs at all on a Commodore 64. It's just mental, absolutely mental. I've got to say the Atari 800 is cracking. I wouldn't say it's arcade perfect. That would be ridiculous to say that, because at the end of the day, it's not vector graphics. It's just kind of whatever it's called. I don't know what the non-vector graphics are called. It's just normal graphics, but it does a bloody good attempt at the game. I have on several occasions asked my mate Mr. Jim Bagley if he would kindly do a port of Asteroids to the Vectrex, because there are, I mean, there's I was going to say Minecraft, what was it called? Mindstorm, for the Vectrex, which is a built-in game. It's kind of similar to Asteroids, but it's not Asteroids. It's very similar, but it's not the same game. And then, is it John Donzilla or something his name is, who used to do a lot of games for the Vectrex? He put out a one, is it Rockeroids, I think it is. Again, it's very similar to Asteroids, but it's not Asteroids. Now, going by what I've seen, if there's any one person that could put out a good version of Asteroids on the Vectrex, it's Mr. Jim Bagley. So I will endeavour to keep pestering him. I know he's up to his arse in work. He's still working on his VR app for the Gear VR and Oculus Rift and what have you, and he's currently porting he's currently porting Bomb Jack, which I've seen and it looks really nice. But I did mention to Jim when I saw him at Glasgow a few months ago, I did mention to him, I said, you really need to get a version of Asteroid. So hopefully if I stay in his case long enough, he might well do it. Because that would be awesome. It's a proper dedicated Vectrex. Vectrex is a proper dedicated vector graphics system. So I'm sure it would be absolutely awesome. So yeah, weather-wise, you know what, it's just when you think winter is on its way, lo and behold, you get an absolutely fantastic, nice, warm day, and that happened. Was it yesterday? No, not yesterday. The day before. Gorgeous. It's like summer had returned once again. And then yesterday it was pish. It was actually like it was like Victorian London up here yesterday. Not yesterday. I can't remember what day it was. It was bloody foggy. It was just horrible. So you think, oh, here we go. That's winter on its way. But I think we've just got to take any decent day and accept that, you know, summer is certainly on its way out. So anything else gaming wise, I've been kind of, apart from playing Left 4 Dead with Ava, I've got to say I've not been playing very much. Mark, my mate, Lactobacillus Prime, he mentioned that he had put in a new hard drive, a 2TB drive in his PS4, because anyone that's got a PS4 will know the standard 500 gig drive, it gets filled up in no time. I mean, I've got maybe, I don't know, 4 games on it, and I've got a plethora, maybe not even as many as 4 games, and I've got quite a lot of the PlayStation Plus games. That's the problem. You buy, if you sign up to PlayStation Plus, then obviously you get like free games. They're not free because you're paying for them, but you're getting maybe 3 or 4 indie games every month for it. And because they're digital, you've got to download them, and if you've not got any space on your computer or on the hard disk, you simply can't download them, which means you've got this membership thing and you simply don't use it because you've not got any space to put in it. So according to Mark, it's very easy. You just remove the drive from the caddy, you put the new drive in, and then I think you've got to put some kind of install files on a USB stick and run it from that. So once I get some money, I'm going to have a crack at that and see how I get on. I noticed Mark also made a video of the Wii U emulator, and he said it runs astonishingly well. Now I've got the Dolphin emulator, which is the Wii and the GameCube emulator. It runs the GameCube stuff virtually flawlessly, but I tried a Wii game yesterday and it wasn't the greatest. It was alright, but I don't think my PC is powerful enough to do that. But it just kind of got me thinking. I mean, I've been putting a lot of PlayStation 1 games on my system, and it's just got me thinking now that here we are. I remember, 10 years ago thinking, I've got all these Commodore 64 ROMs and games and what have you on my computer, and I thought to myself, in years to come, we'll probably have the entire collection of Xbox 360 games on our computer that we can play via emulation. Well, we're maybe not quite there yet with the Xbox 360, but we're certainly there with other machines. I mean, you know, emulation for the Dreamcast is pretty good. The PS2, as long as you've got a decent enough system, I mean, my system, although it's pretty good, it's not the greatest when it comes to sort of like the higher end emulators. But if you've got a really good system, decent graphics card, then you can run the Dreamcast, you can run the PlayStation 1, you can run the PlayStation 2, you can run the Nintendo Wii, the Wii U, the GameCube. You can run all these systems on your PC, and with, you know, solid state storage coming down in price quicker than Jordan's knickers, there's absolutely no excuse not to have a monster drive, and you can put all these games on. Obviously you've got to try and get hold of the games, that's a different kettle of fish, but I'm sure there's probably some way of ripping your original games on the PC. But it just got me thinking, it's mental now that I've now got a collection of about 200 PlayStation games on my computer, and they all play probably better than the PlayStation even did. So yeah, that's a bit mental. I'm filming this on my camera, not my camera, on my phone. I spent about 10 minutes trying to get this thing so it's not just my head. Hopefully you can see a wee bit more of my body rather than just my head like it was last week. In fact, I noticed in last week's waffle, it looks like I was gradually moving further and further down the seat, because the sellotape that I've got the camera or the phone stuck to the screen, it was actually starting to peel away, which meant the phone was gradually moving upwards, which meant I looked like I was sliding down further and further. So anyway, listen, I don't have a hell of a lot to talk about, because I'm trying to get this done tonight so that you can watch it tomorrow. I did think about doing a waffle on Friday night, but I'm not going to be down there till 10, 11 o'clock at night, and that's not much good. Yeah, told you all, Insomnia and 2-player Xbox with Ava. Nothing else gaming wise really that I've been up to. Right, I've got the usual reliable suspects asking me a few questions. Firstly, down the rabbit hole, Kev, for the Friday Waffle. Hi Alan, do you play MAME with all those filters on? I notice you upload footage that gives the impression the games are being played on curved CRT monitors, but I know those are actually just filters MAME provides. When you just want a game, do you play it that way? I've heard those effects can sometimes slow down the gameplay. Yeah, I do, Kev. Is it WHSL it's called? I think the last, I don't know, any version of MAME that was brought out probably in the last couple of years has it. Now it's purely software emulation, as you're aware, Kev. If you have a fairly decent PC, I mean my PC is probably 2 years old now, it does it really well. Now there's multiple settings. I mean, what you can do, if you want to be really good, you can actually go in and you can just piss about yourself and get it to run, but I'm too lazy. What I've done is if you just type in HDSL MAME setting config files, there's loads of people have actually copy and pasted their INI file online, and all I did was I just did best HDSL settings, copied and pasted it across to my INI file, and I just run it. So I've just got one set. I mean, you can basically tailor it for each game. Some games look great, other games don't look so good. As like I said, if you're really wanting to get it running it the best way possible, you would want to kind of tweak it per game, but I'm too lazy to do that. So yeah, I just have it running for every game. So the games that you see in my various videos, that is just the way it's been set up. I've got these settings set to every game. I must admit I don't notice any performance hit, possibly because the PC that I've got is pretty good. It's got a fast, I mean MAME doesn't, excuse me a second. MAME doesn't utilise the graphics card that I'm aware of. I think it's all down to the processor. Now I've got, is it a T7? Is it called? I think it's like the most powerful sort of processor you can get. So this does the job really well. So yeah, I just run the game straight off, Kev. I don't piss about with individual settings, and everything seems to work. Even stuff like Ridge Racer, which you would expect to be a wee bit laggy, runs really well. So yeah, if you've got a fairly sort of recent. If you've bought a PC in the last maybe 2-3 years, I would definitely give it a try. I did try the settings on my main cab, and it was pretty rubbish. It was just too slow because it's all emulating, and it does really tax the processor quite a lot. So I had to take it off that, unfortunately. But got to say, I'm quite happy with the picture and that thing. So yeah, give it a go, Kev. It's really worth it. You can always, if it doesn't work, you can just disable it. Here's a different one. When does the cost of a piece of retro hardware become too expensive? I guess that's a matter of perspective. Whoa. Wait a minute. Yeah. I've not read this. I paid $4,000 for something. My computer space machine. Are you having a laugh? Are you? Wait a minute, Kev. Computer space. Have you got a authentic computer space machine? Wow. Consider my mind blown, Kev, if you have. So you paid $4,000 now. I'm going to go by, I'm going to guess that's about, probably about, in this, with the Brexit thing, us leaving the European Union, it's probably worth about, that's probably what, about £3,500. Wow. You've got a computer space machine. You really need to let us see that, mate. I don't recall ever seen that before. Computer space, yeah, that is the original little rockets fighting it out. That was the first game ever written. You've got one of these machines. Bloody hell, Kev. You need to get a video. If you've not put a video out for that and I've missed it, you need to get one made too sweet. If you have done one, please give me the link, Kev. Awesome stuff. £3,500. Well, I have never ever spent anywhere near that. I don't think what is regarded as too much. I would say for me probably I would not feel comfortable, and well, I couldn't afford it to start with. I wouldn't feel comfortable about spending say £1,000 on anything. That's just far too much money. I mean, there's a lot of things. It's like everybody. There's a lot of things that we could do in the house. We're needing a bathroom redecorated. You know, we didn't go abroad on holiday this year because we didn't have the money. So there's all these other things to consider. I mean, my wife absolutely never gives me any. She doesn't give me any grief at all about what I spend my money on. I mean, my wee games room in here. I mean, I don't know what it's worth. You know, I have spent quite a bit of money over the last probably 5-6 years on my hobby. But you know, I don't think I could justify £1,000. I think even £900 would be too much. I mean, the most I've outlaid on my collection would be would probably be my sort of big name cab. It cost me. I mean, my mate built it. It cost me £350. I think it was. Was that including £100 for him? I can't remember. It was maybe, say it was about 450 it cost me. But I did fund a lot of that money. I did manage to get about 250 quid of that selling stuff. I think all these LCD handheld game things that I had, I sold them for about 250 quid. So if I'm making a big purchase like that, I tend to get a wee bit guilt, and so I'll try and fund it with selling stuff, and I probably would still continue to do that. I don't have a problem. Anything that's, you know, £100-200, that's not an issue for me. I'll go if I want something that's a couple hundred quid. I mean, my Xbox 360, that was 150 quid. I just went out and bought that. I don't have an issue with that. I don't deem that a large amount of money. You know, I can pay it up over a couple of months quite easily. So I would probably say about £500 is probably my limit, I think. I mean, I've pre-ordered the PlayStation VR thing now. I must admit, since I've kind of not been using my Samsung Gear VR much recently, I've been thinking maybe getting this VR for the PlayStation may not be as good an idea as I first thought. But saying that, so I was going to cancel it. I mean, I've pre-ordered it. I've not actually paid for it yet. I think it's going to be about 450 quid, £400, something like that. But this thing I'm going to tomorrow, not tomorrow, on... Yeah, tomorrow. I'm going to tomorrow. Well, it's Saturday I'm going, but I'm travelling down tomorrow. It's apparently they're going to be demoing the PlayStation VR. So I'm going to make a point of having a shot of it, and I'm sure I'll make my mind up if it's going to be worth it or not. If it blows my mind, then I probably will keep it. But I'll see. I'll see what happens. I mean, what I may do is see what the general consensus is from the sort of the community. Is it worth getting or not? I don't know, but I'll probably see how I get on Saturday. But I'd probably say £500 would be my limit for my hobby. Yeah, everybody each to their own, mate. I said I've got a family and that kind of stuff, so I've always got to be cautious about I don't be a bit of a dick and spend loads of money that I don't have. Especially when maybe we've got things about the house that we need to do and that kind of stuff. So always make a point of getting my priorities paid for first. Then if I can afford it, I'll buy something. So anyway, yeah, Computer Space Machine. If it's what I'm thinking it is, you absolutely must get a video. I can't believe I didn't know you had that. You've absolutely blown my mind, Kev. If that's what I think it is, then I can't wait to see a video for this. Also, how much of your computing do you do on your phone these days? It seems like a lot of what we used to rely on computers for has shifted to mobile apps, but there are certain things that I still use my PC for. I was wondering how much you still do on the PC. My phone, well, as you know, it's a Samsung S6 thing. I've got the VR thing. That's the only gaming I do in it, using the VR thing. I've got there's a couple, I think I've got half a dozen games on it, which, I can go for months and not play. I really don't game at all on the phone. What do I use my phone for? I use it for, obviously, making phone calls. I'm using it just now to record this. What else? It's my go-to camera, because the camera, I mean, I bought myself quite a decent Sony camera a couple of years ago, and I've got to say the camera on this thing, the phone is better. So it's my camera, it's my phone, and it is also what I watch all my YouTube videos on generally. I mean, I do use a computer downstairs sometimes, but most of my my YouTube watching is on the phone. Excuse me. And I do, a bit of browsing Facebook and whatnot, emails. It's really handy for emails, it's a lot quicker than using the computer. But I do use the computer a lot. I mean, my daughter uses it for games. I have, because it's quite a decent machine, I've got Steam in it. So I have got some games there I play. I've, what else? All my video editing, absolutely every bit of my video editing gets done on the PC. I mean, what I'll do with this is I'll upload it later, and then I'll edit it, and then produce the final video before uploading it onto YouTube. So I do use my PC an awful lot. It gets used daily. My phone, I never really use it for games as such. I do use it as a camera, but I don't do any video editing as such on it. So yep. So anyway, listen, Kev, thanks for the questions. It's always fantastic. And finally, Mr. Retrohawk. Now, I didn't actually realise this. He's always asking me questions. I'm from central Scotland also. And near where I was, Paisley, there were 3 or 4 dedicated arcades in the late 80s to 90s. And I spent many an hour going round them with friends. Amazing times. Yeah, we're talking about arcades last week. There's not too many in Scotland. The only one that still remains only has pool tables and fruit machines. Yeah, that's about the size of it now, unfortunately. Right, for this week's show, I always love that, this week's show. I like to think, it's great to think that somebody thinks of this as actually a show rather than some numpty talking to a camera. Couple of questions. What is your opinion on region lockouts for consoles? I don't really get it myself, and I think it's quite annoying. I think the reason they do it is because when they release a console in, say, Japan, what they tend to do is they'll have separate release dates for Japan, the United States, and then the rest of the world, Europe, whatever. So usually Japan will get something first, then America, then Europe. So I think that's why they put region locking on. Possibly also because it might be that you can get games cheaper in Japan. I mean, I'm sure by the time you add in postage and whatnot, it might not be. But I think that's the reason they do region locking, is to basically stop people going, getting their mate in America to buy them 5 games and send them over. It is annoying, and it's great when you can just put any game in. I mean, am I right in thinking that the Nintendo DS, and please don't take this as read, because I don't want somebody saying I went and bought a DS and based on what you told me and it's not, but I'm sure the Game Boys and the Nintendo DS's and that are not region locked. I might be talking bollocks. Is that the case? If you know that's not the case, please put a comment below. But like I says, don't go out and buy a DS from Japan because you can get it cheaper and then complain to me that because I told you it's not region locked. I'm sure the Game Boy was never region locked. The Sega Dreamcast, I believe, isn't region locked, but I think every other console, all the PlayStation games and PlayStation and Xboxes, they're all region locked. It is annoying. It'd be nice if they didn't do that, but they've obviously got their reasons for it. I think it is possible just to kind of try and control what's kind of getting bought and where, so. Right, okay, the second part. Are you looking forward to the Nintendo NX? Now, I'll be 100% honest, I don't know anything about the NX. In fact, I didn't even know what the name was. I'm sure I knew it had an X in the title somewhere. I didn't know it was called the NX. I mean, I don't make any secret of the fact that my love of video games really is the older systems, the old systems, rather than modern stuff. I mean, I do like playing modern games, but I don't have any real interest in sort of looking to see what they're about. I mean, when it comes out, I'll probably have a look at it and I'll probably end up getting one. But it's like when you have all these all the companies, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, they have these big shows where they present their latest gadgets and games and what have you. I never ever bothered with these things, never ever watch them. I don't know, I just don't really have any interest in it. But like I say, the NX, is it called? Yeah, the NX. The only thing I have heard, I'm sure somebody mentioned, is it's going to be cartridge based. Now that's quite an interesting thing, because that sounds like it's going backwards. I mean, we had cartridges with the NES and the 16-bit consoles, and they maybe held 32 meg of memory. Now games nowadays, I mean, the PS4, a game, your Uncharted, will be 50 plus gig. Now I can't see Nintendo putting a 50 plus gig game on a cartridge. If they did, it would be bloody awesome, as long as it wasn't too expensive. It would be really super fast loading. I don't see that happening. So is it going to be one of these systems where you download big games but it also allows you to play cartridge games? I'm not quite sure. I mean, cartridge games to me, it's only suitable for older games. Sonic the Hedgehog, I don't know what size that was, probably no more than 2-3 meg tops, something like that. In fact, it's not even that. I mean, the ROM for like an emulator, it's not even a meg in size. So unless these games are going to be really basic, which I don't see, because let's be honest, this hobby of ours, 99% of, if you asked 99% of kids, have you played a Spectrum, would you play Manic Miner, they would say no, they're not interested. So Nintendo aren't going to release a system that's only going to be able to play crap games, or not crap games, but games that don't require a lot of space. So I don't know anything about it. I'm probably talking utter nonsense here. I really know nothing about the system at all, other than I've heard it might be cartridge based. So yeah, I can't really answer any more than that, because I simply don't know, unfortunately. Right, you mentioned here it's actually going to be announced next month. When you say it's going to be announced, they're going to tell you when it's coming out. I wonder if that's the case. What will be interesting is if it gets a mention in Insomnia when I'm there on Saturday. I'll certainly look out for it. I don't see there being a beta version, but there may be some footage of the games. So hopefully I may know more after this weekend. We shall find out. Right, very lastly, what console or computer do you hold do you own that holds the most sentimental value to you? Oh, that's going to have to be, if you're talking about computer, did you say console as well? Well, you know what, there's three I'm going to mention. The first one is the obvious one, Commodore 64, because that was the first system that I owned. It was the first computer that I bought myself, and there were so many good games in it. It's what got me started in this whole industry. I've got industry, listen to me, like I've got a job in the computer industry. Now, it's what got me started in this whole hobby of ours. So many good games in it. Still play my C64 regularly. It's a fantastic machine, and there's a lot of games when I play and listen to music and all that. It just takes me right back to a very, very, very happy time in my life when, you know, I was just a youngster. My mum and dad were still here, so the C64 will always be the main one. The other one I'm going to say, it's not really a nostalgia and such. In fact, I'm not even going to mention it because it's not got any nostalgia. I was going to say my Vectrex. That's my favourite console, but that's not got any nostalgia because I didn't own one back in the day, so I won't even mention it. So I should actually edit that part out, but I'm not going to bother. The second one, which is nostalgic, not because I owned it, but just because when I look at it, it brings back so many fond memories, and that is the Atari 800, the original big tank behemoth thing. Now, I think the first computer that I ever got to see was my modern studies teacher brought in a ZX81, and he let us play this game. It was like a word game. It was utter boring as anything, and I had no interest in it. Then I'm sure my geography teacher, we used to get to use an Apple II. There was a game called Lemonade Stand which we used to play. It's like a kind of an economics type game. You've got to, you know, decide how much to sell lemonade for. But again, seeing that didn't really make me think I want to have a computer. But all that changed when this little Italian chap moved into my hometown and opened up a computer shop. I have recounted this tale many, many times. He opened up a computer shop and he was primarily an Atari dealer. And this would be sort of 1980, maybe 1980, 81. And me and my mates got to know about it, and we used to go into this shop on a Saturday morning, and we would literally spend, I wouldn't say the whole day, but we'd go in there for 2-3 hours at a time, and we'd just look at the machines. You know, we didn't have any money to buy anything, we didn't have computers, we couldn't afford anything. We would literally just go in and look at the machines running the different games. I mean, there was Atari 800, there was Atari 400, and it was running stuff like Bruce Lee, what do you call it, Bruce Lee, Blue Max, Summer Games, Fort Apocalypse, all these wonderful, wonderful games that came from America. And it was just magical. I used to stand and look at them, and some days if you're lucky and maybe get a wee shot, you get to play it, but normally you're watching somebody else playing it because they were maybe going to buy it. We were just looking. But it was there and then I realised I need to get a computer. I must own a computer. I had no means to get one, and it would probably be 2 years later that I eventually got myself a job and got my Commodore 64. So the Atari 800 would be, it's got sentimental value because it was it was the first computer I ever really got to see, and I knew there and then that that's what I wanted to buy. Sadly, by the time I had a job, Atari were really, the 8-bit machines had died a death, so I got a Commodore 64, and it was only somewhat, I don't know how many years later. I mean, I got that Atari 800 about 2 years ago. They're quite hard to come by. They go for quite a bit of money now, but I don't use it. I've got my Atari 65, no sorry, 130XC, which I do use. But the Atari 800, it sits on the shelf there. I like just to look at it. So yeah, C64 and Atari 800. So right, listen guys, I'm going to finish this video in 2 seconds. Finally, I want to do a quick shout out. As I've mentioned, I try and like to do a shout out where possible. My shout out this week is a chap that goes by the name of Galacticus X. Now, I don't actually know what his first name is. I'm one of these guys, when I get into a channel, I always like to know the person's first name. But anyway, Mr. Galacticus, he hails from Greece, and he has a channel which, if you were to look at it, you'd think he looks like some kind of grungy, heavy metal bass guitarist. He's got this big, massive, awesome beard, unlike my pathetic attempt. A lot of his videos, are they all the videos possibly? He records in grey scale. He's got this big beard, he's got the sunglasses. He looks like the type of person you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of. But I think watching his videos, he seems like a big, nice guy. He's got this real original persona, the way he talks. He's very, I mean, what he takes half an hour to talk about, I could do in 5 minutes, but that's what makes him so enjoyable. I mean, he's the only guy that I've actually watched the entire video review of a game where he didn't actually even show you the game. No Man's Sky, is it called? No Man, whatever it's called. You know the game I'm talking about, the one that it's kind of like Marmite. Some folk love it, some folk hate it. He did a review of it, and all he does is talk about the game. But he's got this wonderful style, this real laid back style, and he's got this real wicked sense of humour. I mean, he put out a video, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's got a bit of a sucker punch at the end. It's worth checking out. But go and check him out, guys. He's got a very, very, very low subscriber count, which is just criminal. He needs to get more subscribers. Please go and check him out. Subscribe to his channel, support the guy, because he's absolutely awesome. I love watching his videos. He doesn't put out that much content, which probably makes it all the more appealing. When a video does come out, you know it's going to be good. So go and check him out, Mr. or is it Galacticus X? Link is below. So that is it, guys. That is me finished. As usual, thank you to all the support, old and new. Please keep the comments coming in. Anything you want me to do, just ask. And finally, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe. And lastly, thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for watching my main master channel. Please feel free to like, comment or subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook.